In this video, we'll explore how to scale services using Docker Compose, specifically focusing on running multiple instances of the same service. We'll be mastering horizontal scaling for containerized applications. Service scaling refers to running multiple instances of the same service. This is done to handle an increased load on the service and to improve its availability. When there is more traffic for a service, scaling it will help handle the traffic by distributing it across the multiple instances. Here's a basic Docker Compose file as an example. The version is 3.8. Under the Services section, we define a web service. The image for the web service is Nginx, Alpine. The ports section maps port 80 on the host to port 80 on the container. Finally, we set an environment variable env to production. You can easily scale your services using the Docker Compose command line interface. To scale the web service to 3 instances, you would use the command docker compose up, scale web equals 3. This command creates 3 instances of the web service as defined in your Docker Compose file. When scaling services, a common issue you might encounter is a port conflict. This occurs because multiple containers cannot bind to the same host port simultaneously. Docker will throw an error when you try to start multiple containers that are all trying to use same port on the host machine. To solve the port conflict issue, the simplest solution is to remove the port mapping from the service definition in your Docker Compose file. Here's how you can modify the Docker Compose file. The version is 3.8. We define a web service and use Nginx, Alpine image. The ports section is removed. Finally, we set an environment variable env to production. By removing the ports section, Docker will assign a random port to each container. To make sure that the requests are distributed efficiently, we will add an Nginx instance as a load balancer. Here's how to configure the load balancer service in your Docker Compose file. We define an Nginx service with the image Nginx, Alpine. The ports section maps port 80 on the host to port 80 on the container. We mount the /nginx.conf configuration file to /etc/nginx/nginx.conf inside the container. The depends underscore on section indicates that this service depends on the web service. With the load balancer and the port mapping issue resolved, you can now scale your application using the following command. Docker Compose up, scale web equals 5D. This command will create 5 instances of the web service and run them in detached mode in the background. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit CodeLucky.com for more such useful content.